have died in childbirth?
Okay.
Wait.
Yeah, I said,
No. You
hold
say it's
on.
not
I'm
rare.
listening.
How many
I'm
women?
listening.
How many
Can
women do
you,
you know?
can you let me speak?
Wait. I'm asking you a
I can,
question. I'd like you to
and
answer
I'm
it.
going to answer the
Okay. So,
question.
all right. So my question is,
I
just to
agree.
clarify,
Yes.
how many women do you know that have died in childbirth?
Okay. I do not know any
Zero.
women.
Okay. All right. It's not that common, turns out.
Okay. I'm not saying that the death is that common. I'm saying that my
How
life
many
is
people?
on the
Okay.
line.
I'm sorry.
A
I'm sorry. Mhm.
full life change is on the line.
How many?
It could be every pregnant woman can tell you you get higher chances of high blood pressure, high cholesterol, losing teeth, um, new diseases like the amount of women who have spinal issues just from epidurals who like still I've talked to multiple women who's like, yeah, my back's still fucked up. And they just said like tough titty. Like
So is that your reasoning to
I
say that abortion's okay? I'm sorry, I thought you were done.
no, it's not my reason in saying abortion is okay. I just feel like I go through a life changing thing, and you are there to support. Like all you can do is be there and look support and do whatever you can. But it's my body that is deteriorating. I have to do certain things and if I don't, this baby can eat me. Like it's at the end of the day, and
The baby
I
can eat
hate
you. What do you mean the baby can eat you?
like if I don't have enough vitamin D, it takes from my teeth. It
It
takes from
sounds
my bones.
so you're just scared to have a child because of all those things.
No. I'm not scared to have it. I'm saying this is a reality. Like a lot of
Right, but there
women and
are
men did not talk about it. Like this is like a
no.
reality. Like we did not talk about, and this is like
But you've
something
already
that
admitted that
wasn't.
it's not that common. You don't know anyone who this has happened to. Um,
No. Now I said the death thing.
mhm,
I know women who have lost teeth, bone density, have back problems,
right. Yeah, and
all this type of stuff.
people die going to work. I worked in construction this year. People die on the job in construction,
Mm-hmm.
but buildings got to get built. The
People
point is
people
Yes,
got to
but
pay bills.
that is
there is risk in pretty much everything we do as
I
humans,
know that.
including giving
And
birth.
I have and just okay, and let me go off. You have the right and the will to be like, I don't want that. I don't want to do that.
Right. And I'm saying then, why then do men, if your whole thing is equality, why then are men not
My
afforded
whole
the
thing
same
isn't
thing?
equality. I've never said it is full 50%, 50-50 equality.
Well,
I
that's the
say
definition of equal.
no, I'm saying no. What I'm saying no, I'm saying up to a sum. If the sum is 100, I'm saying you give 60, I give 40, I give you
That's not
give
equal.
so it doesn't add up to the sum of 100.
That's not equal, though.
That's what
Equality,
I'm saying.
okay, but
And
you have
my
to find a different word
okay,
because equality
okay,
is
you're
two
right.
things of the same value on both sides of the equal sign.
I
Okay,
think
you are right.
Jackie, may I
I
ask another question?
I think we should go
Yes.
back to
We can talk
the
about
Oh, you
anything.
want to go back?
to the top part, the part about the increasing
Body
virginity
count.
rates
Yeah, let's go
for
back
the
to there.
I think we should so even in that conversation where I would have taken it is that women are being more selective. Now we could talk about the choices that they do decide to make, but women are being more selective with who they end up sleeping with, um, even if that does end up being the same men as other women because they see them as men of value. But women are being more selective with the men that they are sleeping with, which in turn leaves those out of the equation, or
Yeah.
that leaves men out of the equation. That's way like a Ben who was lamenting on stage just a couple of minutes ago. And I don't think that there's a problem with that. Like I don't think that you have a right to have sex
What do
because
you
you
mean
are a
by
man.
selective, Mezzy?
That's what I was trying to
Um
say.
when I mean selective, I mean they now have the ability to uh discern more, have options at a higher rate. Bless you.
Thank you.
The ability to entertain or not entertain, and not be judged, and the idea that they don't have to have sex with the people that are in front of them, but seek other options and horizons.
Don,
instead
what
of,
do you feel like men
Go
should
ahead,
do?
Trey.
Because hey, I'm a fat, short manlet, okay, and I was able to still get married. My question to you, Don, is: do you think it's wrong for women to want to be selective? Do you think for the men who are the average guys who aren't able to have sex, don't you think they should just be like, it is what it is? I mean, what else can they do except for just be the best they can? You know what I mean?
Well,
That's what I feel
it
like.
just depends on the conclusion, the argument you're trying to make. To say it's wrong or bad, these things are always subjective. It depends on what the outcome you want to be for society. If you want a society where more people are in long-term partnerships, I would say it is bad. I also wouldn't use the word selective because it almost implies that women have more options. I don't think women have more options today. I mean, I suppose in the sense that, yeah, because of technology, a woman can now talk to a guy across the town. But, if women are having sex essentially with less men, so it's not like they have a wider pool of men that they're tapping into. It's actually getting narrower, like smaller. And
No, they're just more selective on the giant pool of men. Is I think
no,
that's
but
what he
here's the
means
thing:
by
women are
selective,
also getting married at a lower rate as well, and I think that
as they
show
should.
reveals it reveals. Well, that's subjective, but what it reveals is that here's the thing: these women are sleeping with men that don't want to have children with them for the most part, that don't want to have a long-term relationship with them for the
Hmm.
most part. They're sleeping with chads. They're sleeping with men that a lot of women find attractive, and
Hmm.
that is resulting, again, I'm not trying to put a value statement on any of this. I'm just trying to speak to why it is that there are young men like Ben voicing frustrations when it comes to the dating market. And the date on the dating apps reveals this, even it's even more extreme on the dating apps. It's something like 10% of guys on dating apps actually have success on dating apps. Like all the dudes are swiping right on like 88 out of 10 girls, 9 out of 10 girls are swiping right on 1 to 2 out of 10 guys. And
Don, don't you feel like your perspective's different because you're the Chad? Aren't you like 6'3", chiseled, and
I'm, I'm,
all these things? Your perspective
no,
is a
no,
little
no,
bit
but
different on this.
this is precisely why. All right, I'm not calling myself a chat like that. That's crazy. No, but I'm 6'5". But but here's what I'm saying. My perspective is exactly why I'm I don't here's what I don't like. I don't like dudes who have charisma or good looks or money or clout or any of the very powerful tools that men can use to attract a woman, getting on the internet and then talking to guys who don't have those things and making it seem like they're crazy because they can't get the results that men who are able to find long-term relationships are able to find.
well,
And so,
I
oh, go ahead, finish, and then let me say something.
yeah, I think I can end it there.
I was gonna say, and let me be clear. I do think that there is an issue with male loneliness. Partially, I feel like there is an issue on the female side of things, because of their ways of approaching dating and courtship, and just interacting with men as a whole. That's coming out soon. But the other portion is, I think that often, um, men can't look at themselves and judge themselves. And I think that a rising issue that's going on in the internet or in the communities that these men fit themselves in is that they are no longer turning and looking inward, but instead looking outward. And I think these are the same people who would say that a lot of other people have victim mentalities. They don't want to look inward in different situations, yet it's hard for them to take their own advice and look inward. And I think looking at your own issues is a tough thing. Don't get me wrong. I think it's very, very hard to do. However, I was always taught and raised to look inward first before you look outward for any problems or issues or solutions. But I think that that's where somebody like, and I don't really know Ben. We keep using Ben, but Ben falls flat on his face. Is that okay? I don't know you, but how deep have you looked inward before you looked outward? Again, I think that there are struggles that do exist outward that are out of your control, and you just kind of got to do the best that you can. But what are you doing to improve on a day-to-day basis as a man?
That's where I stand. Like when he was talking about Ben, like Ben doesn't sound like a guy that could get a woman, but he's complaining that it's because women have selective in men. But he doesn't sound like a person that would be fun to be around, fun to talk to, or anything like that. And so
That's what I was saying.
I'm coming from the perspective opposite of Don, because I'm just the average guy. I look average. I'm below average in weight, below average in height. And it's just like I was still able to marry a woman because I improved myself in other areas. So I feel like men can do that. I do agree that loneliness is really a problem, but I just don't know if we have to go, hey, women, y'all need to just start going after these men. It's just like, it is what it is. I just don't feel like you could tell women, just, I want you to go for Billy over there, even though he doesn't look like Don. And no, I want you to go for that guy. You know what I'm saying? So I don't see where you're coming from with that, Don.
When I was in chat, and I saw Ben, and I feel bad for like dunking on him. I was like, oh, he's cute. And then he started talking, and I was like, oh, okay, I get it. Ben, and if you still heal Ben, you are a cute man, and like I know there's a lot of girls like me who would see you and then be like, oh, it's cute, and then you would start talking, and we're like, oh, it's time to get the fuck up out of here. Ben, this nigga is crazy. So I think you should really work on like your personality because you are a cute guy. I just think you talk your way out of pussy a lot of time.
So I would say the truth lies in the middle. I would say, of course, any man, there's always room for improvement, no matter who you are. And definitely, like what Trey was saying, there are a lot of dudes who count themselves out when they don't need to. All they need to do is level up in a couple of departments and they could find a woman that they could marry and be with. But I also believe that the way that society has evolved over time has made it harder for men to find a woman to marry and partner up with. And I think it's getting worse and worse as we continue to go in the direction of sexual liberation. I'll put it like that.
I think it's the sexual liberation, and I think it's just women's liberation. I have no reason to depend on you. Like my mom and my grandma had to depend and stay with a man. I have no reason to.
See,
Like,
Jackie, I see that when you look at relations, this is where I agree with Don, is that women
no,
being more
it's not.
sexually liberated isn't helping society. I still agree with that.
Oh,
Society
I
isn't getting
understand
better.
that, but I see like you see it from the guy's point of view, and I see it from the girl's point of view of like, and I was talking to my grandmas and my aunts and my mom. It just wasn't, you weren't happy, you just dealt with a man. And I think now, like, because you had to, and like even if like your man, when you got with your man, he was like you really hated that nigga, and I'm like, it shows it even in sitcoms throughout the TV, like throughout the years of a woman being with a man and like, I hate that nigga, but yes, he's still got some love, like he's still like an ain't shit ass nigga, from the Homer Simpsons to the Arties and all
Well, I
that.
think that's all, social engineering. That's all propaganda. The stupid dopey guy that somehow managed to bag a baddie who also is holding down a job where he can be the sole earner in the family and take care of like 3 kids. That doesn't happen in real life ever. So that's
And
all
when you
Oh,
say,
propaganda.
I'm not talking. I'm not
Jackie,
talking
when
about
you
that.
say nigga, are you talking about black guys or are you just using that generally?
Oh no, men. I'm sorry. I just generally sorry.
Okay.
I just
But yeah,
sorry
and I
about that, y'all.
disagree that, you know, women just the only reason women got with men is
Yeah.
because they needed them for
Oh no, they
survival.
didn't
They were
get. No, no, no.
unhappy
I
you
apologize for
know,
not saying that correctly. I don't think they got with men. I think once you got with that man, there was no like. It was marriage. It was moving on to the next step. I think
yeah.
women now, we get to one step and we like, this shit is whack, and we can leave. But back in the day, you had to get to the next step. It was marriage. It was, I'm sticking with you, we're moving in, and we get married. Now it's like, I'm sticking, like I'm getting with you. You really, you really kind of dog shit. Okay, let me try to talk to you. Let me try to like communicate, and you still dog shit. Okay, let me try again, and you still dog. Okay, I'm out. And like, and I agree with you guys. As time has gotten long, I think women's patience has gotten shorter. Of
See,
like, it
that's my
used to be
problem.
you got 10 times, but that's my problem as a woman. It was 10. As women, we were taught to give you 10, 15 tries, and those 10, 15 tries, and we still got dogged. And then
Why do you make it
now,
seem as if, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but why do you make it seem as if men are always the problem? You're only saying that men were bad back
oh
then and
no,
we're even worse today. You
I'm
just
sorry.
said you get in a
I'm
relationship, it's dog shit. Wait, you're still dog shit. Oh wait, still dog shit. It's like you don't see any improvement in men. And so you look at marriage as, man, I mean, the woman is always better and the man always fucks it up.
Oh no, I apologize if that's how I made it come off. It's just
Yeah.
um
Go
I
ahead.
think women have less patience for any type of bullshit now. Like the little things of like men making these tiny mistakes. And trust me, I know women back in the day, they was dickheads as well. But and I can't speak from a man's perspective of why you would stay with a woman who's a dickhead. Um But now I see is like women is like, I'm not sticking with a woman that's a dickhead, but I see men is like, well, you're a dickhead too, and I want to stick with you. And it's like, no. As a woman, I'm like, no, I don't get why men want to stay in that situation, especially if a hard-headed woman is not learning and changing from like you tell her what's wrong and she's still an awful person to you and makes you feel like shit, but you're still sticking and you feel like we should like stick it out and like or whatever.
Let
I
me
don't
let,
understand
let
it.
me
Maybe
let me ask a general question to everybody. Do y'all think that in today's society, I hate phrasing questions like that, but do you
hmm
think that men are more marriage averse, women are more marriage averse, or do you think that it's probably both equal?
I think women are more marriage averse, especially going with like this new movement of like men saying like you shouldn't get a divorce unless I'm beating on you.
Yeah, I think it's both. I think the reason men are more marriage averse is because of no fault divorce. I think the reason why women are more marriage averse is because of sexual liberation.
Uh,
I think it's sexual liberation. I just think it's women liberation of
You don't
like
want
I.
nobody to use the word sexual liberation at all. That
Oh no no
phrase,
no! You can. I'm
Jackie
sorry. I'm
hates that
sorry.
phrase.
No 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 no. It's like it's a full. I think that it's encompassed in the woman liberation. I think sexual thing is a part of it, but I don't think like when a woman is thinking about leaving a man, it's like, oh, he not fucking me 6 ways from Tuesday. I think it's also like I really could find something else a little better. This year kind of
Don,
not is it
if you say that
what I
men are
wanted.
more, or you think it's both, why do you believe that women divorce men at a much higher rate?
No, so when I said men are more marriage averse, I mean
Mhm.
just compared to the past.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. I definitely think women are far more marriage averse than men today.
Oh,
But,
okay.
yeah,
Okay,
but
that's okay.
I'm saying both groups. I think you have more men and way more women than compared to, let's say, 60 years ago, before the 60s, before the sexual revolution. You would find you find more men saying, yeah, I'm never getting married. But when you press why a guy would say that, most of the time it has something to do with divorce. It has something to do with being put on child support. being, no fault divorce, so a woman can just up and leave and take half your stuff, and it's crazy. So,
I
yeah.
was gonna say, do y'all think that that's uh maybe, I don't want to say propaganda because propaganda almost makes it feel like it's 100% false, but there might be some truth to some of this. But don't you feel like a lot of this anti-marriage culture, because I think that there is a anti-marriage culture that is happening now. Part of it is due to, how hard it is to create a family, but also at the same time, just some of the rhetoric that people put out is very anti-marriage. But don't you think that is intentionally harming people? Because I think there are studies that show that people that are getting married now stay in marriage longer than people 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 25 years ago. Those people that are on their first marriages are in them longer. Like, we're no longer in the divorce era from which we were 20 years ago. People are staying longer. But if you ask people that are, hell, 32 and younger, they would still feel as if we're in the divorce era. It's very much impacting them, et cetera, et cetera.
When you say ask people, do you mean like out here in the world, or are you basing that off of like what you see around on the internet?
No. Like Don was saying, if you go out and ask people just in the world, like a man, why are you so why are you anti-marriage? And their thing would be, well, if I get divorced, they'll take half. I'll be on mad child support, et cetera, et cetera. But I think that's because they've bought into the propaganda that, one, we are still in the divorce era. Two, they'll be paying gobs and child support. And three, that they have something to take half of.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
I
just
do
feel like more
think.
men that I talk to are not really afraid of the child support and all that. I think more men are afraid that they're going to get cheated on. That's what I hear most of it. That most men think some woman's just going to leave them and they're just going to, end up with nothing. But go ahead, Don.
Yeah, so I just did a quick Google search for people getting married between 20 and 24 years old today. 20% of those marriages will end in divorce. Between 25 and 29, 15%, and between 30 and 34, 14%. And so, if you get married young, 1 in 5 marriages will fail. And the statistics do get better as they get a little bit older because people get wiser, and are better able to discern the character of the person that you're with. But I don't think it's overblown, because if we take a look at the divorce rate of 100 years ago, that would have been under 5%, I'm sure. It would
But
be
but
under.
Don, different situations and circumstances for 100 years ago, because I think to add to that data, people are getting married later now versus they were 100 years ago. Correct?
Yes, I would agree.
So to add to that, it sounds like you were saying, it lessens as you age, and it
Mhm.
seems like more people are headed towards the age in which the likelihood of your marriage ending in divorce goes down.
Right. Yes. And so, to your point, there are multiple variables. I think the reason why people were able to get married very young, 60, 100 years ago, and we had such incredibly low divorce rates, is because of societal norms. And so, America being a culturally Christian nation, George Washington kissed the Bible when he was inaugurated as the first president. America has always been a culturally Christian nation, even though, a lot of people like to say it wasn't. John Adams, he was the son of a deacon. He was the second president. It's always been Christian. I could go on and on. The point I'm making is, 100 years ago, you had doctrines in the church like no divorce and remarriage. Divorce was seen as a shameful thing to fall upon a family, and remarriage was seen as taboo in the eyes of a lot of people. So people stuck together because they didn't think there was going to be another opportunity if they got out of that marriage. Now people have 3, 4, 5, 6 marriages. And so there it's like, would you quit your job if you knew there were no other jobs out there for you to get? You wouldn't. And so, for that reason, shame and opportunities, the lack of opportunities, I think is what kept marriages together in the past.
And I want to ask a
Agreed.
question. You said divorces are statistically getting lower. Is that what you said?
I think
Yeah.
the
So
divorce rate is going down. But go ahead.
Do you think that's part of because less people get married in general?
no, because the rate is just a percentage. It doesn't matter the amount. But what I will say though to Mezzy, right? I'm saying it right.
I hate
because
this. I hate him.
I
I hate you.
wait, right? Because
Go ahead.
no, because I said it the first time and then you looked at me crazy. Like I said it wrong. So I'm making sure I said it right.
Ohmeezy.
Okay.
Omar, Don. You can say Omar. Jesus.
Okay, Omar. All right. Well, I agree with Omar that I think what happened is at the sexual revolution, it was a huge pendulum swing, and now it's coming back to a more moderate position. And so I do believe that, like he said, marriages are now being more successful than they were 15 years ago, because I believe our culture is similar to the college frat bro who is waking up out of his drunken stupor of being an F-boy and realizing, okay, this is not productive. This is too much. It's draining. It's unfulfilling. Let me try and settle down a bit. I think as a nation, we're doing that. I think the last election was an example of that. I think more and more people becoming religious is an example of that. And so that's what I think is going on.
To add to that, I agree with him. Specifically about marriage and divorce, because my mom came up in the generation of no fault divorce, high divorce rates, et cetera, et cetera. Her mom is a product of there's lack of options. Getting a job for me isn't a real thing. She got married to a man who was maybe like 5 years her senior, 6 years her senior, who went off to war because he got drafted, had to come back, finish high school. She was still of high school age. He was the age of a man who spent 4 years in the military. If you catching my drift here, but
yeah,
I say all that to say she had less options than my mom's generation. And so I think what my mom's generation did was go out there and try to replicate some of the same things that their parents' generation did. So we're still going to get married relatively young. We're going to have babies, all that stuff, but then realize they had the idea of options. And again, I'm saying idea of options because this is the same group and generation of men and women who, like Don said, are on their third and fourth marriage, which also means their third and fourth divorce. But our generation is saying, you know what, there has to be some sort of middle ground here. So I could get married younger, but I also understand that I changed. So let me simultaneously wait longer, which leads to better results in the long run for marriage. And the only way we'll have these like true numbers on what the effects of waiting longer in marriage and longer in dating and longer in starting a family will do is like, 20, 30 years from now, we'll have some real data behind it. But ultimately, from my perspective, even just logically, I think it makes sense for me to wait until I'm 28 years old, fully developed, and say to myself, you know what, I'm okay with where I am now. I can get married. I can start a family. Because I can almost guarantee you, if I got married at 18, 19, 20, I would be in the statistics of you're on your first divorce.
Well,
yeah.
Omar, you had mentioned earlier because you were talking to somebody and you said that his grandmother might have got married because she needed to survive. Do you feel like sometimes the marriages today is kind of that way too? I mean, you make far more of an income. A single person in a household makes $72,000 a year. When there's two people in the house, it goes up to $133,000. So don't you think there's
Where
also
you at?
some logic behind it?
Are these just hypothetical numbers?
No, these are not hypothetical.
Where you get 72 as a single person on average?
I'm talking about on average. I'm just going off the statistics. Average. Look it up.
Average 72K?
72,000, and then the average couple makes 133,000.
I think that's high as hell.
Exactly.
I'm just going off average. I'm not saying everybody's making that. I mean, they're going to take the high and the low. You know what I'm saying?
No, I understand what you're saying. I don't think that the average salary for a single person is Okay, I don't.
Single household and then a couple household.
Average
That's
income.
crazy.
And honestly, this is semantics. So continue with the
Well, I'm just saying, do you think it's more logical that it makes sense that people also want to get married because I mean, you have a higher chance of building wealth and doing all those kind of things.
Yeah, I'm looking at 56, but and that's for a man. But I okay, so ask the question again. Ask the question again. I'm sorry, I saw that and it threw me off.
So here, if I can respond,
Yeah, go ahead, Don.
yeah, I think marriage, all in all, across the board, is if you can make it work, if you can get married and stay married and love the person that you're married to, it's been proven you're going to make more money. Men who are married make more money than men who aren't married. That's a fact, right? Your children statistically will be better off, less likely to go to prison, more likely to have a higher education, more likely will make more money. Just statistically, marriage is the best institution for promoting a strong society, a strong nation of people, and so yeah, it's just better objectively.
Well, I agree with that. I might have, and my bad, Jackie. Let me just say that I agree with that. I might have missed the whole question, but at the end of the day, I agree that a healthy marriage is the best institution for anybody to be in. I don't believe that everybody deserves to be married. I don't think that you have a right to be married just because you do exist in a society. And some people would be better off being single. But with that being said, like Don said, if we're talking about building a family, if we're talking about living a healthier life as a man, specifically, a longer life as a man, specifically, if you want to earn the most as a man, if you want to just be generally happier, marriage, a healthy, happy marriage is the way for you to go. Full stop.
You connected a lot of dots for me, Omar, of breaking it down from generation to generation with like your example from your grandma to your mom to now your generation, like you are well, our generation of I think it was a you're right about the grandma was like doing things to survive. Mom's generation is like we have the option of choice. And I think now, from all the statistics everyone has said, I think now we are realizing it is better to wait to get married because we turn into such different people as we get older. And I think in our grandmother's generations, even if you turned into a different person as you got older, you just stuck around with them. And then our parents' generation was like, nigga, you are someone different. I'm leaving. And now I think we, as in our generation, we're realizing maybe we should fully develop before we bring in such a big thing like marriage and like being stuck to each other for the next 50 years.
I don't even want to say, and this is what Don talked about earlier, and this is where I really agree. It's the idea of having so many choices. And granted, like you said, you do have more choices now versus in the past. But it's what they did with the idea of not having choices versus, or the idea of having choices, not having choices versus what the next generation did versus what we do with it or whatever the case may be. But so like my granddad, and this is specifically on my mom's side, they were born in St. Stephen, South Carolina. This is like a town of like 10,000 people or something like that. Half of that is your family, right? And the other half, you got to you get a good deciphering as to who's good and who's not good. My granddad just joined the military, so he became a hot commodity in the town. I say that to say my grandma wasn't in Atlanta or Detroit or Chicago where there are an abundance of men for her to choose from. So when she got with him, if she looked at the field, this is why her parents kind of signed up for her to be in this situation because they had to sign off on the marriage. But even if she went to like a place like New Jersey, there's still only a small amount of options for her to have as far as a career path, if she could have a career, as far as who to date. There's still a small amount of options as opposed to what we deal with today, or what the next generation dealt with, which was more options, less ability to discern the value of those options, and then making probably rash decisions based off of their inability to discern, like, this is a shot or opportunity I should take, aka get divorced, try to find a new relationship, not quote unquote put up with this, that, and the third, and the fourth.
It's not
But
always
what do
about
you?
putting up with something, though.
Yeah, I know.
I do feel
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
marriage is fucking hard. I mean, there's just no easy way to do it. We're almost all married, including you, Omar. You're about to be married. When you get into a marriage, it's not all, man, this is great. This is amazing. It just keeps going better and better. Even though you may have got with your wife and she was a certain way, as marriage goes along, I mean, certain things happen, such as in my family, my son died. And when my son died, that changed the dynamic of the marriage. And
I'm
so
so
it's just,
sorry
but
to hear that, bro.
Same.
appreciate it. But I'm just saying, like, stuff happens in a marriage that can make everything go south or make everything change. I just feel like when you continue to push through it, I just feel like instead of me thinking, you know what, maybe I should. Well, most men don't think this, but you know what, there are more options out there. I could try again. I could do this again. I feel like just continue to push through and be like, fuck it. Some days we're not going to talk. Fuck it. It's sorry. I'm gonna stop saying that word, but forget it.
No, you're
Sometimes,
good.
we're not going to talk. Some days it's not going to be great, but 80% of the time it's mundane. It's boring. You're living life. 10% to me is amazing, and then 10% of it's not that great. But I just feel like what you're saying, Omar, about just continuing to women back then not having options was not necessarily a bad thing. You just learn to get through those times. I think today people go through a little bit and they're like, you know what? I don't think this is gonna work
Well,
out.
not today. I don't think it's, well, in today, but I think like maybe 20 years ago they were like, yeah, fuck it, man. I have the ability to leave this. I don't have to weather
I
this
think
storm. Go ahead, Jackie.
we're not. I don't think that's another thing. When you guys were talking, I don't think we're talking about the option of just not being single. Um, from when I talked to my elders, you didn't really have the option to be single, and was extremely frowned upon. And so, like, you were kind of pressured into not being single. But I think in our generation, women are realizing I have the option to be single. I have the option to just take care of myself and not, if the field around me is not looking like something I want, I can just not take part of it. I think that wasn't always an option.
I agree, but I do think that we'll get back to the, not fully, but we'll have some understanding. Because again, and I don't want to shoot the whole load, but the next video will talk about it. Those women and men who have decided those things in their 20s and their 30s, they are realizing in their 40s and their 50s and their 60s that they shouldn't have opted out as hard. Now, again, I think some people are made to be single, but at the level in which it has gotten, I think that that's drastic, because as you get older, I think life does get harder from a bunch of different perspectives, not even just with your physical health, but your mental health, from how you socialize with people. Y'all don't think that older single people are less enjoyable to be around? Like, I know,
Yeah,
I'm gonna speak to the men. Those older men that are in their like 50s and 60s that are single are some of the most miserable people to be around, just based off
I
of the way they talk about women. Like, they are.
personally can attest to this because I live with my father. Well, I go in between of living with my father, and he is 65 and by himself, and I'm his sole, like, basically his caretaker because he has no woman in his life, and yeah, he is a miserable, sad, lonely man, and he lived a life of like, if the woman ain't acting right, fuck him. I just, he's been married once, got with my mom, they didn't work out because my mom was crazy. Um, and then got with another lady, she was dog shit. Um, and so he's just been, he is just by himself and lonely to this day. And I can tell as he's getting older, he really regrets it. He wants to find someone, but finding someone in your 60s, another single Black woman in your 60s is virtually impossible.
Well, they're everywhere, so it's not
They are,
gonna be
but
too hard. He just needs to get on eHarmony or something.
he
And I can tell
is.
you,
And
working in nursing, and working with that kind of population of people who end up, dying alone, it is horrible to watch. I agree with you, Omar. It's the saddest thing you can ever see. Somebody who has no family, nobody comes and sees them, and every day they're just struggling to stay alive until it's just all over. That's why I do think marriage is so important. It's not just about, I'm trying to look for the right person. It's also about when you get to those old days and there's nobody there, and I just agree with that.
Yeah, I think it hits people real hard. You sound fairly young. You sound like you're in your early 20s, I would imagine.
No, I'm older than you.
No, Jackie, I'm
No,
talking
Jackie.
to Jackie.
Oh, okay.
me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Are
I'm
you
in
in
my
your
early
you're in
20s.
your are you in your early 20s?
Yeah, early
Yeah.
20s, y'all.
Stop.
Okay. No?
I'm
Wait.
30.
Oh, you're 30?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow.
I'm a
Okay.
boomer. Please don't
All
say
right.
that like that.
All right. Is that a boomer? I don't think you're a
No,
boomer
that's
if
not
you're
a boomer.
30. Yeah.
When I talk to the
Do you
young
know what a
girls,
boomer is? A boomer
when I
is
talk to the youngest, they be calling me boomer.
That's just the
did
young
your
generation.
father fight in World War II? I'm pretty sure you're not a boomer. Yeah. But
Oh
yeah.
yeah, I know I'm not a boomer, but
Mm-hmm.
you tell nigga your age, they start calling you all types of unks and
Yeah, they probably tell you to
Grandma.
buy a dog,
Please.
and you know what
Calling
happens.
her out unk is crazy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I agree though. Definitely as you get older, if you're still single, you have no kids, it gets real rough for you, for sure.
Yeah. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I appreciate you guys. The fiance is calling, and I need to take some medicine and lay down so bad.
We appreciate you, brother. Thank you for all the
Shout out
content you
to
do, bro.
Ben. I hope you get it together, Ben.
We back on
You
Ben.
got some looks.
Hey, leave
Get
Ben
it,
alone, man. Let that man live. Dang. Ben
I
can't
just said
breathe.
shout out to him. I said he was cute. He was
Just
doing
don't.
what he
Just
was
don't.
doing.
My overall. Just don't take yourself out of the mix. Just do not take yourself out of the mix.
Yeah.
I know that's easier.
Don't
said
take
than done.
yourself in the mix, and don't expect women to be like, do a backflip and open a pussy and you fall into it.
Okay.
That's all.
That's
On
one way
that,
to word it.
definitely on that note,
That's
I'm
one
gonna
way
let
to
y'all
say it.
go. I'm gonna say
All right,
good night.
It was good
Appreciate
talking to
y'all.
y'all,
Good
man.
night.
Peace
Have
out.
a good guy. Give him that, guys.
Peace. That was an interesting way to end it. Ladies and gentlemen,
He's on fire!
I lied about how healthy I am. I go out when the team sees this, they're gonna be like, "Oh man, you could have recorded more videos." I did not know I'm struggling more than I thought I was. Look, I'm about to go take some cold and flu medicine and lay the hell down. Y'all think I'm sweating because of the lights. It's not the lights. I'm not gonna... Y'all, I'm trying to lie to y'all. Yeah, my girl got the heat on. No, that's cap. It's cold as hell in here, but I'm saying. I will see y'all Monday on Let's Keep It a Buck. I have a video dropping tomorrow about the men hating Olympics that's going on the internet. I appreciate everybody for showing up, showing out. Shouts out to Trey, Jackie, and the one and only Young Don for being a part of the stream. And Trey for the donation. With that being said, I will see you guys at a later dater. We will do this next month.